You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Everyone say hi to Instagram. Say hi to Instagram. Instagram, say hi to everyone. We're doing special behind the scenes on our commercial breaks via Instagram, so make sure you tune in on Instagram if you're not watching on there already. So let's talk about door knocking and really kind of So we talked about what door knocking is before we went on break. We covered, what door knocking is, what the benefits, what that goal at the end of everything actually is of being able to go out there and spend 3 hours prospecting, 3 hours knocking on doors, and be able to potentially earn, even in a small commission like $3,000 if you're door knocking on a low property value neighborhood, but we're maybe, even if the property is like $200,000, I mean that's it's what, like a $8,000, $7,000 commission, somewhere around that range there. So if you're able to pick up one lead, even in a neighborhood that isn't that high value of homes, it's absolutely worth it. If you're door knocking in, let's say $300,000 homes or $400,000 homes, I mean these benefits just keep growing and growing. And the better it is that you're able to door knock, the better it is that you're able to present yourself, the more personable you're able to be with people, the more likely you're not only going to get business today, but you're going to get repeat business out in the future. Because ultimately what you're doing with door knocking is you're introducing yourself to the world, one person at a time. That's what you're doing with door knocking. You're introducing yourself to the world, one person at a time. And yes, it's probably one of the most time-consuming ways of picking up business. But you know what? It costs you $0. It only costs you your time. And a little bit of know-how and a little bit of confidence as well, because if you don't know what you're doing and you're not confident, then that's definitely going to obliterate your results as well. But that's what we're here to talk about today, every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, State of Real Estate, live at tampaschool.com/success, live on Instagram, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. You can find us all over the place to tune into this. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do it already, because every Friday we go in and discuss details like this. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, put your email in on our Success Center, get at us everywhere, and make sure you've got any notifications turned on, so that way whenever we do one of these live streams, you're able to kind of come in here, mastermind with us, and pick up these tips and tricks and tools to take your real estate business to the next level. But let's talk a little bit more about door knocking. Today's topic, it's door knocking weather outside in Tampa. Right now in Tampa, it's cooled down substantially. We're like 20 degrees cooler than what we were previously, so it feels nice outside. It feels good to be outside, so now it's time to go play the sport of real estate, the sport of door knocking in the Realtor Olympic Games, and this is how you pick up business. So I want to talk about now, kind of let's walk through some scenarios. So you want to understand, and you want to do a little bit of planning. I'm always a person that says, hey, look, don't overplan stuff. Don't go crazy with your planning. Don't spend all day. Don't get analysis by paralysis by basically doing nothing but planning. But you want to be ready to go out there and, actually earn some money. So what you want to understand is, again, why you're interrupting their day. What is it? And you got to flip it. You got to think of, okay, I'm the person being door knocked on. What is it that's going to make me want to listen to this person? What is it going to be that says, oh, I've got food on the stove, I can't talk right now, and close the door? What is it going to be that gets me to listen? Even if there is food on the stove, even though they're probably just making that up because they don't want to talk to you and they're too proper, too polite to just say, hey, go away, I don't want to talk to you. So now what is it that you're going to do that makes them want to listen to you? So you always want to look professional. If you don't look the part, if you don't look professional, if I showed up at your house looking something like this, you're like, oh wow, look, this person looks important. What are they doing at my house? So you want to have that same impression. You want to leave that same effect of you're showing up there and people are like, oh wow, this person looks like they is this somebody, did I win some sort of prize, did I and that first and foremost gets them to answer the door. If you show up, looking like somebody that's questionable, if you look like somebody that that they don't want to talk to, and stereotypes aside of whatever that may be, you want to carry yourself in a professional manner. So again, you want to try to look as perfect as you can. You can never really be overdressed for this here. If I showed up I could go out there especially in this weather, I could go out there door knocking in something like this whole 3-piece suit with the vest on, the tie, and all that, and I guarantee I'm going to get more people opening the door than if I just showed up in a t-shirt. I know a lot of the realtors out there like to go get the t-shirts made and things like that say, oh, I'm a realtor, or some sort of whatever like that, something that basically says I'm a realtor, or maybe in a more funny way or something like that. And that's cool, but don't go door knocking in something like that. You want to show up looking like a professional, because this is your chance to make a first impression on this person. And you're intervening in their life. You're interrupting their life. So you better give them a reason to want to listen to you. So let's say that you're going door knocking in an apartment complex. So let's say that you're going to an apartment complex, and now you want to make sure that there's not any no soliciting and all that other stuff. Don't break the law. So all you guys tuning in, make sure you're not breaking the law. I'm not telling you guys to do anything illegal. I've been kicked out of some apartment complexes before. I'll be honest with you guys. Back when I was first getting started, I was doing prospecting, and there'd be some of them where I kind of noticed they were kind of following me around, and then other ones where they just came up and told me, hey, look, you can't do that here. But what actually happened with all these apartment complexes where they told me, hey, there's no soliciting here, blah, 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 blah. Despite that, they would tell me, hey, look, you can't do that here. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I thought I didn't see that. Or if they're calling me over the phone or something like that, because I've gotten these phone calls before. Oh, yeah, that must have been somebody from my team that was there. I'll make sure that they don't do that. So all that type of stuff you do to kind of brush this off. But look, these people, they're not. You might come across the person that lectures you. You probably didn't want people knocking on your door and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't want that, but I also want to be able to provide for myself and my family. So you gotta understand, okay, what's really important in your life. But these situations where the leasing managers have told me, hey, you're not allowed to knock on doors here. I'm saying, oh, so sorry about that. I didn't see the sign, or I didn't know, or I'm new to this, or whatever it is that you got to say. And it's like, oh, it's okay. Well, actually, we do cooperate with realtors, and we pay a $500 leasing fee or a $500 rental fee for any tenants you bring to us. Oh, that's great to know. Yeah, I'll definitely send some people your way. And they're excited because it's their job to get people in here, and if you could help make their job easier, you'll be buddy-buddy with them. They might even let you back in and say, yeah, go ahead, just go knock on some doors here. You brought me some business. I'll let you go out there and get some business. So keep that all in account as well, because that's a great way to grow your network as well as grow your business at the same time. But let's say we're going to this apartment complex, and we're knocking on doors, and we're saying, hey, my name is John Carismo with ABC Realty, and I'm here today to talk to you about some great programs that are designed to help first-time home buyers. Let me ask you this to see if you even qualify for this. Have you ever owned a home before? And now whether they say yes or no, and now notice how well I've played, and really I'm just kind of trying to remember things I would say before doing these door knockings here. But if I say it slowly like that, I'll probably lose a little bit of it there. So you want to practice this, rehearse this. Hey, my name's John Carismo with ABC Realty. And the reason why I'm stopping here today is there's actually a great program for first-time home buyers that And see, you don't want to do this. You want to have this prepared ahead of time. I don't have any of this stuff prepared for this script. I have them trying to make up in my head as we go. But you can see how it's pretty easy to come up with this stuff. So, hey, my name is John Carismo, ABC Realty. The reason why I'm stopping here today is we've got a great program for first-time home buyers to make it possible to pay less than what they're renting right now. Let me ask you one question to see if you qualify. Have you ever owned a home before? Now, the question that I'm asking, I know that because they're renting, they're probably qualifying as a first-time home buyer. And depending on the program it is that you're looking for, whether that's the FHA program or any other type of programs, your county or your city might have some sort of programs established to in Hillsborough County, for example. Hillsborough County is where Tampa's located. We've got a lot of programs by Hillsborough County specifically for first-time home buyers to help kind of lower that hurdle of owning a home. And if you notice where I mentioned, and this is, again, you got to think about that. Why are they going to listen to you? If you could tell them that they could own a home for less than they're paying in rent, they're probably already familiar with that concept. But at least you're saying something that maybe you're already touching into. You're kind of tapping into that. Okay, you're kind of answering a lot of questions as well for them. And that's what you want to do in this initial kind of first impression. And that's why I was really kind of carefully thinking through these words I was saying as I was coming up with this script here live on the air. And the questions it is that you want to answer. Okay, who are you? I'm John Christma with ABC Realty. What are you here for? I'm here to tell you about a great program for first-time home buyers to help you pay less money than what you're paying right now to own a home. So that's the who and the what. The why. Why am I here? I'm here to help you save money on your rent, to lower it so you have a mortgage payment with tax deductions and all this other stuff. So you want to hit on as many of these as you can. The where, that's pretty obvious. Maybe that's the brokerage it is that you're with, but really the where is where it is that you are right now. But really these initial kind of assessment questions that you have, and then that leads us to the last assessment question that people will think about is, okay, well, how? And that's what we're leading into is, have you ever owned a home before? And now I know whether they answer yes or no, that they still might qualify as a first-time home buyer and they'd still be able to qualify for certain ones of these programs. Some of these programs, it's just, hey, do you not own a home right now? And that qualifies you as a first-time home buyer. Some of them, it might be where it's a certain number of years. Maybe it's a certain number of years they can't own a home to be considered a first-time home buyer. And you might even want to phrase this as that we have a lot of programs available for first-time home buyers. Let me ask you this to see if you qualify for any of these here. Have you ever owned a home before? And if they're trying to get rid of you, they might just say yes. They say, oh, well, that's okay. And how long ago was it that you owned the home? And then you start kind of opening them up and you're peeling back these layers, because when you first meet somebody, they're all closed up. You have some people that are maybe a little bit more willing to talk to other people, but especially when you're door knocking, when you're interrupting their day, they're wondering who this is at the door, what you're doing there. Are you a serial killer? We've got a serial killer problem apparently in Tampa right now. There's some killer wandering Seminole Heights out there. So don't go door knocking in Seminole Heights right now. That's probably not in your best interest. Always be a quick note on safety. Always make sure you're safe, whether you're packing or you got a taser or some pepper spray or something like that. So that way you're safe. And that just goes to say whenever it is that you're out in the world, or maybe have some martial arts training, maybe do a little bit of boxing. I do a little bit of boxing as well, so I feel like I could bode pretty well in just some hand-to-hand conflict. But have some way that you're prepared, and that just goes across life. That's not even specific to door knocking. Anytime you walk out your front door, or really anytime you open your front door, if there's somebody showing up there, you got to be prepared for what could happen. But enough gloom and doom. Let's talk back about how to make money door knocking. So we're in this apartment complex here. We're knocking on the door. We say, hey, my name is John Christma with ABC Realty. We've got some great programs for first-time home buyers that are brought on by the city of Tampa, by Hillsborough County, by the state of Florida, as well as the federal government. And with these programs, you could actually purchase a home and have a mortgage payment that's significantly less than what you're paying right now for rent. Now, before I go any further, let me just see if you even qualify for one of these programs. Let me ask you this. Have you ever owned a home before? And I've said before that yes or no questions are bad. And yes or no questions, they are typically not the best, but when you're first kind of in this interaction, if you ask an open-ended question as soon as you meet somebody, if you're going right for an open-ended question, they're just going to feel uncomfortable. So again, you're peeling back the layers, and you maybe start with a couple of these yes or no questions, and this is keeping them from closing the door on their face. It's keeping them from opening it. You start off doing most of the talking, but as you progress through the conversation, you're getting them to talk more. You're getting them to open up a little bit more. But you have to start this conversation. And to really emphasize this point, if you showed up at the door, knocked on the door, and just stared at them and waited for them to talk, because, there's this whole thought process, they're supposed to do more talking. I don't disagree with that. They are supposed to do most of the talking. But if you go knock on the door and you just show up and you just stare at them, they're going to probably get creeped out. They might call the cops. There's a lot of things are going to happen that's ultimately not going to be good for you. So my point being, I know that sounds silly, I know that sounds ridiculous, but my point being is you're the one that needs to start the conversation. And you have to do most of the talking to begin with. You're doing most of the conversation, and you're bringing them into the conversation little by little. You first start off with a yes or no question. Have you owned a home before? That's yes or no. That gives them an answer to verbalize themselves, to make themselves part of the conversation. And now notice, I didn't ask, how are you doing today? How are you doing on this fine day? I'm not asking those types of questions because, now this doesn't apply across the board, but in most cases, that type of question is a time waster. It's small talk. Don't go in there trying to make small talk because you have a limited window to explain the why of what you're being there, and the better it is you're able to explain this why and communicate that information and get them involved in that conversation, the better chance it is that you're going to end up with a lead from this door knocking experience. We're going to take another quick commercial break here. If you guys don't want to watch the commercials, make sure you tune in over on Instagram. We're live on Instagram right now at Tampa School of Real Estate. Instagram's going to get the special sneak peek, behind the scenes look at our studio right here while we're on commercial break. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrismo, and every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind to grow your real estate business. And if you haven't noticed already by not going outside, it's been like this the past couple of days, but it's door knocking weather in Florida. It's our temperatures outside right now. Let's see what it was. Oh, 77. It's a little bit warm, but you know, most room, that's about room temperature, 77, 76 degrees. And what is it? It's noon here, so it should only be getting cooler from here. It actually might be a little bit too cold for you guys if you go out door knocking any later. But look, again, it shouldn't be too cold for you. Bring a scarf, bring a sweater, get yourself the three-piece suit, get yourself bundled up so you go out there and make the use of this door knocking. Now, if you guys are just tuning in, when our first segment we talked about why you should be door knocking and really what door knocking is and that potential that lies there. Again, you're spending maybe 3 hours door knocking. You knock on 100 doors. If you're able to pick up only one lead out of those 100 doors it is that you knock on, and maybe you're even able to knock on more than 100 in 3 hours time, especially if you're kind of quick between the two houses, or maybe the houses are close together, whatever it may be. You might even be able to do that in less time or knock on more doors. But if you pick up just one lead that you could turn into a sale, that might be a $10,000, $12,000, $20,000 lead that also that leads out to referral business to friends and family of that person you helped out that they're referring. So absolutely, it's worth it. And before we went on the last break here, we were talking about what are some of these things it is that you could do when you're door knocking. What is it that you could do when we're door knocking to really make the most use of this? Because you shouldn't be just picking up one lead, knocking on 100 doors. I would say every person that answers the door, you should be leaving a good impression on them. You should be leaving a good impression on them and building up for follow-up to help get a sale going even though they're not ready to buy or sell right now. Because when you're door knocking, they might not be ready at that particular moment. That particular moment it is that you knock on the door, they might not be ready. We were talking about that apartment complex example of knocking on the door in an apartment complex and saying, hey, my name is John Charisma with ABC Realty, and the reason why I'm stopping by today is we actually have a great program for first-time home buyers that's put on by the city of Tampa, Hillsborough County, the state of Florida. Now, what am I doing by mentioning all these names and dropping all these government entities? I'm building credibility in what it is that I'm talking about. It's not my program. It's not my scheme to try to get you to buy a house. It's the government scheme. And when it's the government scheme, people are a little bit more comfortable with it. So when it's the federal government, the state government, the county, the city, when it's all these entities that have these programs, it's not some sort of get-rich-quick, buy-house-quick scheme. It's a government program. And if anyone's trustworthy, and we're kind of not in that climate today. Most people don't trust their politicians, but the programs the government offers, those are pretty straightforward. They're pretty well laid out. So you mentioned that there's programs put on by the state of Florida, by the federal government, by Hillsborough County, by the city of Tampa, or wherever it is that you're knocking on doors. Use the proper. If you're knocking out in Wesley Chapel or down in Miami or up in Orlando, don't mention city of Tampa. So again, tailor your script to your market, but you mention all this stuff and you say, let me see if you even qualify for this. So what you're doing there is you're starting off with this this non-open-ended question, this yes or no question. Let me see if you even qualify for this. Have you ever owned a home before? And they have two options. Really a third option, but it's not a logical answer. The two options are yes or no, and both of those two options, guess what? I've got programs that qualify for you. How long ago, and you maybe don't want to go into that right there, you maybe say, oh, how long ago was it that you bought a home? And you also want to emphasize the fact that it could save a significant amount of money off of their monthly rent. They might only be saving $100 a month, which that doesn't seem that significant. You don't want to say, oh, well, you could save $100 a month, and they'll probably say, oh, that's no big deal. I don't mind the extra $100 a month for not having to deal with the headaches of home ownership. You'll get this a lot because there's going to be a few people that are interested in, oh yeah, I do want to buy a home. I'm sick of living here. You'll probably get that more often than not. But there's going to be the people that love living in that apartment complex, that don't want to move, that don't want to own a home, and you're now convincing them of this home ownership. But if you say, oh, it's $100 a month, these people are probably say $100 a month. What is that? I mean, that's good, but that's not great. But that is pretty significant when you think about it. $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. $1,200 a year, it might not sound like a lot, but they might be able to buy their kids nicer Christmas presents. They might be able to afford a nicer car. Another $100 a month for your car payment will get you a lot nicer vehicle than what you're currently paying for a car payment. Or maybe they don't have a car payment. You could get a smart car for $100 a month, so they'll have some sort of vehicle. They get a brand new smart car for $100 a month. I know that because we have a couple of the smart cars for marketing purposes. You might have seen those before, but yeah. So that $100 a month, it might not sound like much. It might be just a night out. And that alone, just being able to have a single night out, that might be worth it for whoever it is you're talking to. It depends on what it is, but it's not your job to help them to quantify what they could do with that $100. It's your job to show them that they could save money. And then you talk about and it's not just saving the money off of the rent, or the mortgage being lower than the rent. Because, yeah, maybe it's $100 cheaper there, but then the interest portion of your mortgage payment is tax deductible. That interest portion of your mortgage payment, which is with your first couple of mortgage payments, probably 95% of your mortgage payment is going to be interest. So your rent is not tax deductible whatsoever. It's not tax deductible, your rent. Your mortgage, however, is tax deductible for the interest portion of this. And you don't really get to paying more principal than you are interest till you're 15 years into a 30-year mortgage, or maybe even longer than that. So you've got a lot of time, and most people buy and sell their homes within that time, to have this huge deduction from the interest portion of your payment. Now, I'm probably preaching to the choir right now because I'm sure you guys are all real estate people tuning in to Facebook, to YouTube, to our Success Center, to all of these channels it is that we're broadcasting live to right now. You guys are real estate people. You probably understand the benefits of home ownership. But somebody and you have to really live these benefits, not even necessarily live, but really believe in these benefits, really believe in what is possible. And part of that belief comes from knowledge, from knowing. from knowing what these benefits are. And then not just knowing what the benefits are, but being able to effectively communicate these benefits to the person it is that you're knocking on the door for. If you're not able to effectively communicate this information, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they slammed the door on you. It's not their fault that you didn't get a chance to tell them about the benefits. So when they close the door on you and you say, "Oh, you know what? They don't deserve to save money." It's not their fault that they're not able to save money. It's your fault. It's your job. You have to take ownership. There's a book that I read recently, listened to really via Audible. I usually listen to most books. I recommend you do as well. It's a great way to spend time driving in the car. Probably do a lot of that in real estate. So definitely get an Audible membership. We'll get you guys a sponsored link so we can make some money on that. But until then, just go up and sign up for Audible. It's absolutely worth it. I could recommend that 110%. But the book by, I think it's Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, and these are Navy SEALs. These are Navy SEAls. They're the Navy SEAls. And this is our most prestigious branch of the armed forces, the Navy SEALs, one of the most prestigious. I'm really pretty ignorant when it comes to the kind of breakdown of the armed forces and whatnot, but it's really something if you're a Navy SEAL. These are supposed to be some of the best trained fighters in the entire world, but not just trained physically, but also trained mentally. And the concept in this extreme ownership book is taking ownership of everything. In this situation here, that applies as well, because it's not their fault that they didn't want to listen to you. It's your fault. It's your fault that they're paying more money. It's your fault that they're not able to deduct their money off of their taxes for interest on a mortgage payment. It's your fault. You had the opportunity to share that information with them, and you blew it. So it's not just for you. You're literally doing a public service by disseminating this information about how you can benefit by being a homeowner. And you're just able to make money in the process. It's the way our little capitalistic society works. Yes, you're making money, but you're not going to go knocking on the door spreading this information for free. So it's your job to have this really down to a science of, okay, let's start peeling back the layers. Let's start getting them to open up to us. Let's start with a yes or no question. Okay, they say yes or no. Okay, great. Now let's move into a little bit more open-ended question. How long ago was it that you owned a home? So moving from that yes or no, we get them to verbalize, we bring them into the conversation. Up until that point of them answering yes or no, it's just been me in the conversation, and I want to bring them into the conversation. So I ask yes or no, I get that yes or no, I don't care what it is, yes or no, I've got answers for both of them, and we've got programs for both of them in Hillsborough County, Tampa, and most places do. You might just not have to own a home right now to be considered a first-time home buyer, so you've got these programs available. So it doesn't matter whether it's a yes or no question, whether it's yes or no that they answer to that yes or no question, you've got a logical next step of what it is you're going to talk about. Have you ever owned a home before? Yes. Okay, great. How long ago was it that you've owned a home? And then they answer that amount of time. And now, up until this point, they think that you're still qualifying them for these programs, which you know that they're qualified for these programs the second it is that they knocked on the door, that you knocked on the door. But again, you're bringing them into the conversation. You're not asking them, would you be interested in this? You're asking them a question that gives you information about them. Whether or not they're interested, I can tell you right now that they're probably going to say no. If you're going in there asking the question of, would you be interested in this? They're going to say, no, that's all right. And you're giving them an easy way out. Everyone wants to take the easy way out. It's your job to not give them that easy way out, so that way they're able to listen to this information it is that you're able to preach this good word of real estate. So you've got that yes or no question. That leads on. And if they answer, well, you say, well, what if they say no, they haven't lived in a home before, they haven't owned a home before. Well, what do I say then? Again, you have these predetermined responses already, and you've got to practice these ahead of time so they come across confident. And really, you could practice on these people it is that you're knocking on the doors for. That's probably the best practice, because these are probably going to be the toughest individuals. I don't know, sometimes you'll have a friend or family member that might be a little bit tougher on you than them. But you practice this ahead of time so you know what these next steps are, what these next questions are, and you're able to kind of logically go into these next portions here. So they ask you, or you ask them, yes or no. They say, let's say, no, I've never owned a home before. Now what do you say? Oh, great. Well, how long have you been living here? And again, they still think this is a qualifier question, which it is. You're qualifying them to be part of this conversation. You're leading them into the conversation. And then they give you a specific amount of time. And that's the same thing on either side. That makes it easy. We've got these parallel roads here. The yes or no question we start off from, yes goes this way, no goes this way. We talk about the years now. Okay, well, how long ago did you own the home? Or how long have you been living here if they've never owned a home before? And so you've got these two questions either way. And yeah, they might be a little bit uncomfortable with you. They're probably absolutely going to be uncomfortable with you. There's very few people that'll be comfortable with a stranger just walking up to their door and knocking on it. So that's absolutely expected. It's your job to be comfortable, to be confident, to be cool, to be collected, and then that way you'll help them feel that way as well. So you ask the question about how long ago is, what that number of years may be, and then you want to lead into another question, breaking this down a little bit further, getting a little bit deeper into the conversation. We're going to cover that after we take this quick commercial break. If you guys don't want to watch the commercial, if you want to see a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on in our studio here, tune in on Instagram. We're live on Instagram right now at Tampa School of Real Estate. Give us a follow on there and tune into the live stream. We're about to do a behind-the-scenes tour while we go on commercial here, or otherwise just hang tight. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. I'm John Christma. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Christma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christma, and every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind, to grow your real estate business, to take it to the next level. If you want to start your real estate business or take it to the next level, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. We have advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that they can. Also, check out tampaschool.com for everything Tampa School of Real Estate. It's kind of our one central source for everything. So definitely check that out. We've got a lot of tools and tips and helpful videos, articles, and all that other stuff at tampaschool.com. But what we're talking about today, we've got Instagram in the house, we've got Success Center, we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube. Welcome everyone if you're just tuning into today's show of State of Real Estate. What we do is we mastermind, and today we're talking about masterminding about door knocking. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot about door knocking, but definitely go to tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. You're going to be able to watch this whole broadcast, the whole replay of today's broadcast at tampaschool.com/success, SUCCESS. That's our Success Center. That's going to help you learn a lot about the real estate industry, as well as the topic we're talking about today, that is door knocking. So when you're door knocking, we've been kind of talking about how you could kind of elaborate into this whole process of getting them to connect and open up to you. And, you know, maybe you're not feeling comfortable with this, but if you want to be able to earn business with zero cost, with basically no money to get out there and get clients, That's what door knocking is perfect for. Yes, it's a little intimidating when you're starting out. It's a little intimidating when you've never done this before and you've got people that are slamming doors in your face. You might get discouraged. You might just want to get in your car and just drive off, but power through it. Get better. Make yourself better. And if you despise door knocking, despise it and at the same time do it until you could afford not to have to do it. I've met so many agents that don't door knock today, but they door knocked when they got started. They knocked on doors to get started because it didn't cost any money to get leads. You could absolutely pay for leads. You could absolutely pay money to advertise and buy leads from Zillow and all these other places and whatnot. But these prospecting activities, such as door knocking, are so great because they allow you to really have practice clients. Your first few clients are always going to be practice clients. Doesn't matter how much training it is that you have, that first client is going to be practice. They're the first person that you've ever worked with, so you'll be just practicing on them. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not you've had training or how much training you've had. They're always a practice client. So would you rather pay $200 for a practice client lead or pay $0 for a practice client lead? I mean, come on now. So that question answers itself. And you might probably have a couple practice clients. And with these practice clients, you're maybe not likely to close the deal. Hopefully you do, but there's a lot larger probability that you won't close the deal on that first or second client. You get a little bit better on your third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 10th, 20th, 30th. By the time you've got 100 clients under your belt, I mean, you're a pro. You know what you're doing. You know what needs to be done. You know what to say, what to do, and all of that. So the better it is that you're able to execute this, the better you're going to perform. And the best way to practice this execution is by knocking on doors, because you get to practice communicating with people. Now, we were talking about that rental scenario. Okay, you're knocking on doors for a rental. Hey, John Chrismo, blah, 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 blah. First-time homebuyer programs. Have you owned a home before? Yes or no, they answer. Doesn't matter which one. You've got another question on top of that. And you want to continually ask questions and gradually move into more open-ended questions and getting them to open up more. So you got to make that transition slowly. Start off with yes or no to get them involved in the conversation, and that eliminates them, or basically eliminates them, as long as you've got them listening to you. So that's why you got to be good at this communication. You got to be good at the performance of that initial kind of script here. But as long as you got them listening to you and they hear what that last question is, have you owned a home before? And then you just kind of pause and wait for them to respond. And they're going to either say yes or no, or they might just say, "Yeah, I'm not interested." Oh, well, look, just for my survey purposes here, because I'm also doing a survey on this. Have you owned a home before? You don't have to be doing a survey. You should be doing a survey. You should be surveying all of this here in the process, so that way you know how effective this is, what your metrics and what your numbers are. And then you get them to open up more. The better it is that if you're able to handle these more difficult clients, the more difficult people it is that you're knocking on the doors with, the easy ones that want to talk to you are going to feel like a walk in the park, because they want to talk to you. And now the trick here is making sure that you're not overselling at that point when you already know that they want to talk to you, that they're excited. Wait, there's programs from the government to help me buy a home, to make me pay less money, to save me money on my taxes and all this other stuff. Wow, that sounds great. Tell me more. You'll have some of those clients. It's not going to be most of them, but there will be people that are interested in this, what you have to say. Everybody needs a place to live, so real estate is one of the most universally accepted conversations. Everybody, even if they don't own real estate, they like to talk about real estate. They talk about a place where they live. That's real estate. It's just they don't own it. They rent it. So it's a very easy conversation to have when you know what you're talking about, and you could kind of bring them into that conversation. But bringing them in, again, you yes or no question. Okay, now a little bit more open-ended, something simple like a number, the number of years. So you're asking about these number of years. Okay, well, how long have you lived there? How long ago did you own a home? And you're asking these questions that now give you a number. And now you can move a little bit further, and you maybe ask another question of, well, tell me about what made you want to move here. And now you're starting to talk to them a little bit, but as they're answering these questions, they don't feel like they're being sold to. And you don't want to do that right off the bat. If you just knock on the door and say, "Hey, you want to buy a house?" "No." "Okay, bye." And move on to another. "Hey, you want to buy a house?" "No." "Okay, bye." If that's all you're doing, you'll probably eventually find somebody that'll work, but you're going to have a lot lower success rate with that. We're almost out of time for today's hour, so I do want to touch on one other thing with this, is as you're going through this door knocking process, and as you're qualifying them and getting to know them, you're going to find people that are interested maybe in what you have to say, or that are willing to listen to you, but they're not ready. Maybe they just had a bankruptcy. Maybe they just had this. Maybe they just had that. Maybe this just happened. Maybe that just happened. Maybe they're planning on moving, but not for another 3 months. Maybe the biggest problem you're going to have in an apartment complex is, oh, my lease is not up until this point in time, or whatever it may be. And you could absolutely try to overcome those objections. And you could say something like, hey, if I could get them to break your lease, would you be willing to save money on your mortgage payment? If I will you, that whole if I will you. When you get an objection, that's you always want to acknowledge the objection, the complaint that they're having. I completely understand with the leases, but we've had a lot of people that we've worked with that we've helped break their lease. If we could do that for you, would you be interested in buying a house? Yeah, if that's their only problem, then, oh yeah, no brainer. Yeah, if you could do that, okay, great. We could absolutely get something like that. Even if we can't get them to agree to that, I've negotiated before for sellers to pay your fees to break your lease. So that way, even if you have to pay a fee, we could still get that covered. So absolutely, we could. We've got a lot of options to work through this here. Getting them excited about this whole process as well, and then hopefully that leads to a lead. But you'll have situations where it does not lead to a lead, and that's the last point I want to make. These situations that don't lead to business today, that don't go to business today, where they're not saying, oh yeah, I want to buy a house right now, for whatever reason it is that they want to wait. Get their contact info. Say, well, I'd love to stay in touch with you, as well as send you out a monthly newsletter. And don't worry, I'm not going to sell your information to others. I don't spam people or anything like that. Just a newsletter that talks about these programs and blah, 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 blah. Would you mind if I send that to you? And they'll probably say, oh, that's fine. Great. We'll take down the email. And now, in addition, you don't want just the email. Because with emails, on average, now this depends, but on average, about 15% of emails get opened. I don't want to put my chances of success all the way down to 15%. I don't want to have invested that time with this client and bring that down to 15%. Okay, great. Okay, I'll definitely get that emailed out to you. And then how do you spell your last name? Or how do you spell your first name? And this is great, especially if you forgot what their name was, because that'll happen. I don't have the best short-term memory. I forget people's names. But I'll ask, okay, how do you spell your first name? I just want to make sure I have this right here. How do you spell your first name? So these little things like that'll absolutely help you out as well. And then get their last name. So you've got first, last name, and email now. And then finally, you also want to get their phone number, because again, less than 15% of emails get opened. So don't just rely on email as your method of follow-up, as your method of corresponding with them and communicating with them in the future. You've already got their address because you're at the address, so just write that down. You don't need to ask them for that, because then they'll feel like they're giving you all their information. So you could just write down the address and tell them, oh, I'll also drop you guys something in the mail that's got a little bit more information on this, or whatever it may be. But then you want to also ask for the phone number as well. And you could do something like this, such as, you were saying that in about 6 months that you're thinking about this. Do you guys mind if I call you in 6 months just to kind of touch base with you, see how you're doing? And at this point, if they've given you all this other information, it's a very high likelihood that they'll just say yes and give you their phone number. But even if they say no, that's fine. Even if you go without the phone number, you've still got the email. You've still got the address. You still know where they live. You could still pop in another month, and then maybe not even another month. Maybe it depends on how that conversation went and how your relationship is with them, or and how urgent they may be. If they say 6 months, I would show up in 3. If they say 1 month, I would show up next week. Or whatever that may be, because even though they're saying that, oh, I want to do this in 6 months, or I want to do this in 3 months, well, we should probably, if you're planning on doing this in 3 months, we should probably start getting ready for this now. So, and this is why this is so good and so essential that you're doing this door knocking, especially as a new agent, because this helps give you the information that the types of objections you're going to get, and now you can come up with better and better answers and really believe in these answers. I've got the Instagram timing out on us. I guess we can only do exactly an hour on Instagram, so I've got to tune out for today. If you guys, I think it's a watch the replay on Instagram. If you guys haven't checked that out, that's pretty cool. When we went on break, we did a kind of a little tour of the office, of the studio here. You got to see behind the scenes. So check us out on Instagram at Tampa School of Real Estate. You can go follow us on there, as well as check out the live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm sure you've got some great tips. I know I gave out some great tips for this. Hopefully you guys wrote them down. If not, go back, watch the replay so you can really take these and implement in your business. Because if you don't implement this information, you're almost wasting your time here. It's still not a waste to be here, because you're helping grow yourself, and even not implementing any of this stuff, you're understanding it better. But if you want the biggest return on your investment, you got to implement these strategies here. It's great weather for door knocking right now, so get yourself out there, go knock on some doors, go get some rejection in your life. It's okay to be rejected every now and then. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. Everyone experiences rejection. That's okay. Remember, keep your eye on the prize, those $10, $12, $15, $20,000 commissions that could be possibly waiting behind the door. Behind door number 1, nothing. Oh, behind door number 2, nothing. Oh, behind door number 3, oh my God, it's $1 million. So it's like you're playing a game. Have fun with it. That's really the most important part of all this here. But also make sure you're getting their contact info so you can follow up. That's all the time we've got for today. So thank you guys for tuning in to State of Real Estate. I will see you next week at 12 noon Eastern time. Until then, go be great. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have been for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.